Hello, welcome back to your own channel. Let's be real. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. And it's not just an elephant. It's a massive, high-definition, 4K elephant that lives in our phones and laptops. Today, we are tackling the topic that everyone is consuming, but nobody wants to admit they're consuming: pornography addiction and the unrealistic intimacy standards it creates. And I want to start by saying this: if this topic makes you feel uncomfortable or defensive, that's exactly why we need to talk about it, because the discomfort is the first sign that we're dealing with something that has a lot of power over us. So, let's just get this out of the way. We are the first generation in human history that has had access to the extremes of human sexuality at literally any moment of the day. It's not like our parents had to find a hidden magazine in the woods. We have a supercomputer in our pockets that can show us anything we can imagine, and a lot we can't, in less than a second. And the thing about this unlimited access is that it rewires the brain. It physically alters the neural pathways. It's not about morality, it's about neurochemistry. When you watch pornography, your brain releases a massive hit of dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical that motivates us to seek out rewards. The problem is, the brain is always looking for balance. When you flood it with artificial, high-intensity stimuli, it starts to build a tolerance. That first video you saw that gave you that rush, it's not enough anymore. So you click on something harder, something more extreme, something novel, just to get that same feeling. And that, right there, is the very definition of addiction. It's not about having a high sex drive. It's about the compulsive need to seek out a high that your brain has become accustomed to. You start watching it when you're bored. You watch it when you're stressed. You watch it to fall asleep. You watch it to wake up. It becomes the primary coping mechanism for any kind of emotional distress. And the scariest part, you don't even realize it's happening because it's so normalized. It's just what everyone does. But ask yourself this: if you can't go 3 days without looking at it, is it a choice anymore? Or is it a compulsion? Now, let's move past the individual brain chemistry and look at the bigger picture. The unrealistic intimacy standards. This is where it gets really damaging. When you binge watch highly produced, scripted, and edited sexual content, you are essentially consuming a fantasy. You are watching a performance. It's the equivalent of watching an action movie and thinking you could fly a helicopter through an exploding building. It's fake. It's a production. It's designed for the camera, not for human connection. So what happens when a boy grows up watching this? And what happens when a girl grows up thinking this is the standard she has to meet? The damage is on both sides. For men or boys, it creates a massive performance anxiety. You grow up believing that you're supposed to be an 8-inch, superhuman stallion who can go 4 hours without stopping. And that's just not reality for the vast majority of people. That's not even how real intimacy works. Real intimacy is vulnerable. It's awkward. It's stopping to ask, is this okay? It's about communication. It's about laughter. It's about connection. Pornography doesn't show you any of that. It doesn't show you the conversation before or the cuddling after. It doesn't show you the "I'm not in the mood tonight" or the "my knees cramping." It shows you a highlight reel of an actor's performance. And when you expect that in real life, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, you start to feel inadequate. So you retreat back to the screen because the screen doesn't judge you. It doesn't have needs, and it never tells you no. It's a safe but empty fantasy for women or girls. The standards are just as toxic. You grow up watching these performers who have seemingly perfect bodies, no cellulite, perfect skin, and who are seemingly always in the mood, always looking a certain way, and always performing. The pressure to be that cool girl or the porn star girlfriend is immense. You might feel like you have to perform these acts that you're not comfortable with just to keep a partner interested, because you think that's what they want. You start to detach from your own body, your own pleasure, and your own boundaries. You begin to see yourself as an object on a screen, rather than a person in a relationship. Real intimacy isn't about acting. It's about being present. It's about feeling safe. It's about trust. But when you're constantly comparing yourself to a filtered, photoshopped, surgically enhanced ideal, how can you feel safe? How can you feel good enough? And here's the harsh reality. When you take these unrealistic standards into a real relationship, it creates a disconnect. You're no longer having sex with your partner. You're performing a scene you saw on the internet. You're physically in the room with someone, but mentally, you're in a loop of visual cues from a browser tab you closed an hour ago. This kills intimacy. Intimacy is about seeing someone, really seeing them. You can't do that if your mind is cluttered with the high-definition, unrealistic performances you've been consuming. You find yourself scrolling through social media, watching a video, and you look over at your partner lying next to you, and you feel nothing. Or worse, you feel annoyed. The screens have become more stimulating than the real, warm, breathing person beside you. That is the tragedy we are facing. So, what do we do? I'm not here to tell you to never watch it again. I'm not your dad, and I'm not a priest. What I am telling you is to ask yourself what you're watching and why. Are you using it as a tool for occasional release, or has it become the primary source of your sexual education and emotional relief? If the answer is the latter, you might be in a place that requires a reset. It's okay to be addicted. It's okay to be struggling. But it's not okay to stay there. Start by talking about it. Break the shame. The shame is what keeps us in the dark. Talk to a trusted friend. Talk to a therapist. There are countless resources online and communities that focus on overcoming pornography addiction. It's not about denying your sexuality. It's about reclaiming it. It's about breaking the cycle of dopamine hits so you can actually feel something real. It's about reconnecting with your own body and your own imagination. It's about realizing that the most erotic thing in the world isn't a perfect body or a crazy position. It's the look in someone's eyes when they actually see you. It's vulnerability. It's trust. We are the generation of the screen. We are the guinea pigs for this 24/7 access. And it's up to us to figure out how to live with it without letting it destroy our ability to connect with actual people. So let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with our partners. Let's lower the unrealistic standards and raise the bar for what real, human, messy, beautiful intimacy actually looks like. Because that's what we actually deserve. We deserve the real thing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to hear your experiences. I'll see you in the next one with another issue.